Hare Krishna. We continue reading from Teachings of Queen Kunti. We are on prayer 19, Crossing Beyond Illusions Currents. This is from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 8, Text 36. Shanvanti Gayanti Grananti Abhikshnashaha Smaranti Nandanti Tave Hitam Janaha Ta Eva Pashyanti Achirena Tavakam Bhava Pravaho Paramam Padambujam. O Krishna, those who continuously hear, chant, and repeat your transcendental activities, or take pleasure in others doing so, certainly see your lotus feet, which alone can stop the repetition of birth and death. So we'll read the purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. The Supreme Lord Sri Krishna cannot be seen by our present conditional vision. In order to see him, one has to change his present vision by developing a different condition of life full of spontaneous love of God. So we want to see God. Love of God is there in everyone's heart. But if we want to see him, we have to revive that love for him. Then we will be able to see him. When Sri Krishna was personally present on the face of the globe, not everyone could see him as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Materialists like Ravan, Hiranyakashipu, Kamsa, Jarasan, and Shishupal were highly qualified personalities by acquisition of material assets, but they were unable to appreciate the presence of the Lord. Therefore, even though the Lord may be present before our eyes, it is not possible to see him unless we have the necessary vision. So when Krishna was present on the earth, not everyone understood his position that he's God. There were people fighting with him, inimical to him. Shishupal was always ridiculing him. Jarasan fighting with him. Kamsa was wanting to kill him. Hiranyakashipu, tomorrow is the appearance day of Lord Nishingadev. And Ravan, they didn't understand that this is God, even though they're seeing him face to face. They didn't understand. So the point is that God may stand in front of us, but we will not understand that he's God. Therefore, even though the Lord may be present before our eyes, it is not possible to see him unless we have the necessary vision. This necessary qualification is developed by the process of devotional service only, beginning with hearing about the Lord from the right sources. So how can we develop this necessary vision, the vision which is necessary to see God? This can be only through devotional service. There is no other way. There is no other process by which we will be able to see God. Only devotional service, which begins by hearing, about the Lord from the right sources. By hearing about the Lord, who know the Lord, who can introduce the Lord to us. We want to meet a great personality, then we have to know how great he is from the person who knows him, from a person who knows him. And such a person, because who knows him, he can introduce us to this great personality. Similarly, God is the greatest personality. And if we want to see him, then we have to, this can be done only by engaging in devotional service, which begins by hearing about God. From who? From people who know God, hearing about him from the right sources. The Bhagavad Gita is one of the popular literatures which are generally heard, chanted, repeated, etc. by the people in general. But in spite of such hearing, etc., sometimes it is experienced that the performer of such devotional service does not see the Lord face to face. The reason is that the first item, Shravana, is very important. If hearing is from the right sources, it acts very quickly. Generally, people hear from unauthorized persons. Such unauthorized persons may be very learned by academic qualifications, but because they do not follow the principles of devotional service, hearing from them becomes a sheer waste of time. So Bhagavad Gita is so famous. There are so many people who are enthusiastically reading Bhagavad Gita, but in spite of reading Bhagavad Gita, in spite of hearing from Bhagavad Gita, they're not able to see God. And what's the reason? It's because not hearing from the right source. That is what we have to do. We have to make sure we are hearing from the right source. We have to make sure we are hearing from someone who knows God. And when we do that, then we will be able to understand Bhagavad Gita and very, very quickly, very quickly. And if we are hearing Bhagavad Gita, who are not authorized sources, then it's a waste of time. It's a waste of time, because Krishna says that only by devotional service that you can know me. But if somebody is speaking from Bhagavad Gita and not engaging in devotional service, he is not going to be able to know Krishna. So if he does not know Krishna, how can he introduce God to us? If someone does not know God, how can he introduce God to us? And God is saying, you can know me only by devotional service. So we have to hear from people who are engaged in devotional service, because they are able to see God and they can show us God. So someone may be very learned, a great scholar, but if he's not practicing devotional service, then he's not able to see God. And so he will not be able to show us God. And then it's a waste of time. It's a waste of time. Sometimes the texts are interpreted fashionably to suit their own purposes. Therefore, first one should select a competent and bona fide speaker and then hear from him. When the hearing process is perfect and complete, the other processes become automatically perfect in their own way. So it is important who we are hearing from. Once we hear from the bona fide and competent, once we choose, okay, this is a bona fide speaker, and he's a competent speaker, he's qualified, he's following the principles of devotional service, he's following the line of authority, he's authorized by the disciplic succession. And when one is hearing from them, then all the other processes become perfect. Because hearing is the first, is the most important. Hearing is the first item of devotional service. There are different transcendental activities of the Lord, and each and every one of them is competent to bestow the desired result, provided the hearing process is perfect. So we have to hear from personalities who know God. Then we will be able to know God. If somebody does not know God and we hear from them, we will not be able to know God. That's the same in even in material field. Even in material field, we want to become a good lawyer, we have to go to the law school. We have to get trained under the teachers who are there, authorized teachers in the law school which is authorized by the law board. It's only then we have to see, oh, is the school authorized? Yes, it is authorized. So the teachers are authorized. And when we hear from them, we learn from them, then we can become qualified lawyers. So it's true even in the material life. And we take so much care, oh, where I'm learning from, or where am I buying from? Is it authorized or no? But when it comes to hearing about spiritual matters, when it comes to hearing about God, we are like, oh, anyone will do. Anyone will do. When we are going to buy a diamond, we'll say, no, let me see, is this an authorized dealer? Is this a true diamond or no? We're going to check properly. But when it comes to spiritual knowledge, we say, oh, I can hear from anyone and everyone. Everything is same. Everyone is same. If it's the same, then why are we taking so much time to do our research for material things? And if it's the same, then why the result is not being seen? Why people are not able to see God? Why love of God is not being manifest in them? No, because it's not all the same. That's the reason. It's not, and it's not a matter of saying someone is, it's a matter of discretion, you know. It's the matter of making correct choices. That's all. In the Bhagavatam, the activities of the Lord begin from his dealings with the Pandavas. There are many other pastimes of the Lord in connection with his dealings with the Asuras and others. In the 10th canto, the sublime dealings with his conjugal associates, the gopis, as well as his married wives at Dwarka are mentioned. Since the Lord is absolute, there is no difference in the transcendental nature of each and every dealing of the Lord. But sometimes people in an unauthorized hearing process take more interest in hearing about his dealings with the gopis. Such an inclination indicates the lusty feelings of the hearer. So a bona fide speaker of the dealings of the Lord never indulges in such hearings. One must hear about the Lord from the very beginning, as in the Srimad Bhagavatam or any other scriptures, and that will help the hearer attain perfection by progressive development. One should not therefore consider that his dealings with the Pandavas are less important than his dealings with the gopis. One must always remember that the Lord is always transcendental to all mundane attachment. In all the above mentioned dealings of the Lord, he is the hero in all circumstances, and hearing about him or about his devotees or combatants is conducive to spiritual life. It is said that the Vedas and Puranas, etc., are all made to revive our lost relation with him. Hearing of all these scriptures is essential. So Prabhupada is trying to tell us that God is absolute. He's transcendental. He's on the absolute platform. So his pastimes with Pandavas or with the gopis, they are on the absolute platform. They are the same. He's the hero in all these pastimes. And so, because some people say, no, we are going to read only about the Ras-Lila, and that means that's what Bhagavatam is all about. No, Bhagavatam begins, we have been seeing Bhagavatam begins with the Pandavas, and then how the creation, 2nd canto, so much is being spoken about the creation. This is all the pastimes of the Lord, and it is all absolute. That's the reason we need to hear from the bona fide sources. That's the reason. Because the bona fide source, he understands that the Lord is absolute. He understands God. So he is able to tell us about God. And so it is important for us to hear from the scriptures. Hearing from the scriptures are there for us to know about God. And so we need to hear from the scriptures, from the authorized sources. Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita is there for us to understand God. Yeah? So that's the goal of the scriptures. Krishna says, Vedesya sarver aham eva vedya. That by all the Vedas, I am to be known. That is the goal of the Vedas. So when we hear about Krishna from the Vedas, we will get to know him. We will be able to see him. In the previous verses, Kunti Devi has explained that those who have come to this material world are working very hard like asses and have such a hard burden that they cannot bear it. Because their lusty desires have created heavy work that puts them always in trouble, Krishna comes to introduce the system by which one can get relief from this continuously troublesome life. So we have so many desires. Because of these desires, we get unnecessarily implicated. We have desires, we want to do this, we want to do that. Because of that, we unnecessarily create not a happy situation from us. We get implicated, we get entangled, we get burdened by this. And then Krishna comes to show us what we should be doing. He comes to give us devotional service so we can get relief from this troublesome life, continuously troublesome life. It's not that only in one life we create such a situation. Life after life, we are creating this troublesome situation for us. Life after life. And that's the reason Krishna comes himself. Krishna comes himself. Religion consists of the laws of God. People who do not know this think that religion means faith. But although you may have faith in something, and I may have faith in something, and although I may believe you, and you may or may not believe me, that is not religion. There is even a supposedly religious mission that says you can manufacture your own way. Yata mata tata patha. Whatever you think is right, that is right. This is their philosophy. But that is not science. Suppose I'm a madman. Is whatever I think all right? How could this be? 2 plus 2 equals 4 is science. If I believe that 2 plus 2 equals 5 or 3, does it become true? No. So they are laws of God. And when there is dharmasya glanihi, deviation from these laws, we suffer. Just as we might suffer by violating the laws of the state, as soon as we violate the laws of God, we are subjected to so many tribulations. So religion, what is religion? Religion are the laws of God. It is not referred to a particular faith, because faith can be changed. Someone may have faith, someone may not have faith, someone may believe or someone may not believe. But just because I believe in something doesn't make it true. As here Prabhupada is giving the example, suppose I'm mad and I say 2 plus 2 equals to 5. Now, because I believe in it, does it make it true? No. For me, it's true because I'm mad, but it's not the truth. I'm believing that it is true, but that's not the fact. It's not true. So similarly, God's laws are there. They are there, whether we believe in them or no, whether we have faith in them or no. They are there. And when we violate these laws, then we suffer. Same as if we are living in a particular country, we have to follow the rules of that country. And if we don't follow the rules of that country, we will be penalized. We'll be reprimanded, punished. Similarly, here in the material world also, there are the laws of God. Spiritual world also. Everything is kingdom of God. Everywhere is kingdom of God. This is something we need to understand. Not that, oh, whatever I think is right. Then that means we are thinking our mind is right. But our mind is material. How can material mind be right? So this is the reason we need to hear from the scriptures. So now how are we to get free from these tribulations? Krishna comes to free us from them by giving us bhakti yoga. Krishna recommends do this, and if we do it, we shall get relief. So the tribulations are there. How can we get free of tribulations? Krishna says, you do this. You do this bhakti yoga. And if you do bhakti yoga, you will get relief from the miseries. The miseries won't affect you. You won't suffer. Won't suffer. You'll get relief. And at the end of life, you can go back home, back to Godhead. Don't need to be continuing to stay here in the material world. That's the goal of human life, to live happily here and to get out of the, not to continue thinking I'm the body, but understanding this is not my permanent place. I need to go back home, back to Godhead. Revive our Krishna consciousness. Revive our Krishna consciousness, which begins by hearing and chanting. And that is bhakti yoga. That is devotional service. Hearing from the right source. That is devotional service. Chanting Krishna's names, chanting the names of God. That is devotional service. So we'll stop here for today. Are there any comments or questions? Or anything to add?
No.
So we'll stop and then we'll continue with it tomorrow. Thank you so much for listening in and joining it. Kunti Maharani ki jai, Shila Prabhupada ki jai, Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Hare Krishna.